Hi, this is Kristen with another process video. Today I will be using this cut file that I purchased from Shimmer's Paints. I'd received this paper. This was in one of the Hip Kit Club papers. And I had seen another person in the YouTube channel cut these clouds out. Essentially just fussy cut that out. And then I found this little Bo Bunny paper that I'd had in my storage for a long time, and my stash. The words are escaping me today. And then I figure I'm gonna put that there. I'll cover this part up with like some clouds just to add it on there. So I'm gonna kind of probably center it right about there. And obviously I'll cover up that wave too. And then I found this. I got this from Hip Kit. It was part of another kit. It's Hello Weekend. I'm not sure what month it was from. So I'm gonna lay that kind of in front and kind of layer this. And then this was part of it. I just cut it out because I wanted to layer it. So I'll have this like kind of adhered back, and then this one up a little bit like that. And the pictures I wanted to use, which I thought was really cute, were pictures of my son and my daughter, and you see the ray of light in there. And my middle son had hurt her feelings somehow, and so my oldest was going out to comfort her, which I just thought was really cute. And that's like totally my older son. He is just a little sweetheart. So I was going to probably tuck these in here. That's why I decided to do the field, because I felt like they kind of look like they are essentially in a field. So I thought that would look kind of cute. Of course, I'll probably switch these too and layer them in a way that, so kind of like that. And then these pockets were in I think the September Hip Kit embellishment pack. So I was going to tuck that in there to make it look like the sunshine's coming out of the pocket. And then put the title somewhere here. And I don't know how much embellishment I'll add to it. I'll probably add some clouds up here. But I might, maybe stick some flowers here. But I don't know that I'm going to do a ton of embellishment on this, because I kind of feel like the scene is kind of the embellishment. So, okay. So there's that. All right, I think that'll probably look good there. So let's see. Yep, okay. So that'll look pretty good there. All right, and then I'm going to pop this up on foam. I had seen these little pockets and thought they were cute, but I'm like, I don't know if I would really use those or not. And then when I got that cut file, I got to brainstorming. I saw those little pockets. I'm like, oh, that would be really cute on that layout. But my layout idea was going to be totally different than this. Like, this is totally changed over time. And it actually adapted when I saw that layout on YouTube. I feel like that's a little crookedy. And you know what would be really cute here is even like actually stitching this. So maybe I'll actually hand stitch that. Since you already kind of have the markings there for all that. That'll be something I'll kind of do off camera, obviously. That would be really cute. Okay, so I think I'm really happy with how that looks. So now I've got my pictures adhered down, and I'm going to get the field that's popped up on foam placed in front of the pictures. And I ended up having to switch to voiceover because I'm sure you could hear my kids being kind of loud in the background. So now I'm going to get the title adhered down. And I'm just checking to make sure it's straight. And then I like the placement. I've gone ahead and fussy cut the rest of the clouds off camera, and so now I'm just going to fill in some gaps here and make it a little bit more three-dimensional to go along with the fact that the field's three-dimensional. And so I'll pop these pieces up on foam. Okay, so I've got all those popped up. I don't know if I'll pop something up here or in some other spots, but I was gonna add some flowers. So it's gonna be what I do now. I go ahead and pick out my florals off camera. And here I'm just getting them placed around the pictures and cutting some lengths off so that they vary in height. Off camera, I had also tried to sew the pocket like I talked about before, and had started it and just did not like how it looked. You couldn't really make out a ton of detail. So I did end up taking off the pocket that I had tried to sew and replaced it with this one. I also had to recut out my cut file because when I had placed the cut file before, something about it kept bothering me and I felt like it looked crookedy. And so when I was trying to pull it up to reposition it, of course I tore it. So now I'm just going to go ahead and add some little butterflies just to add a little bit more dimension. I add a few in the field just to kind of make the field a little bit more 3D. I really didn't want to embellish this layout too much because, again, I feel like the clouds and kind of the 3D effect of it is kind of, for the most part, the embellishment. And sometimes I do have a tendency to go a little embellishment crazy. Just because there's so much cute stuff, it's hard not to want to use it. So I kept looking at this space behind the flowers and just felt like it was an empty space. I tried to, off camera, put a cloud back there to see if that looked like it worked, and it didn't look right. So I find this little pink butterfly and decide that it looks good behind those flowers, just to add a little bit more dimension. And since I had added some dimension at the bottom, I wanted to add something up around the clouds, and so I find these blue puffy sticker birds and decide that I kind of want to do a tone on tone look up here. And initially I'm trying to figure out where I want to place them, and I kind of felt like this spot right here was a little empty, so I felt like that naturally was like a good spot for it. Well, around the clouds are these little sprinklings of hearts. I don't know if you can see them because they're kind of little, so I decided that would be where I would go ahead and put all the birds, just to kind of follow that pattern a little bit. And I kind of mess with this one here, like, do I really want to do that? And then I decide, yes, I like how that looks. I end up adding 5 in total just to go with those heart clusters. And I decide to add this little heart to the pocket just to give that a little bit more dimension, since I'm putting some dimension to everything else on the page. And so I'm just looking at it, seeing if there's anything else I wanted to add. And I decide I wanted to add just a little bit more dimension. And I find they're different tones of blue, puffy sticker hearts, and decide I'm going to add them with each of the heart and bird clusters. Now I'm just checking it, see if there's anything else I wanted to add. And here are a few little close-ups of it. I'll go ahead and link all the papers that I used in this. I don't know about the Bow Bunny since it was, I think it was like a 2010 paper, but I will link the month that both of the Hip Kit papers came from, just because I wasn't sure what months they came from, and then the cut file as well. So thanks for joining me again. Hope you enjoyed it.